Hey everybody, welcome back. We are down to our 30 to 21 part of our top 100 games of all time. This list has been going really well. It's trucking right along, and we're not going to delay it very much here. Now, I think it is my turn to go 1st. So, without any further ado, let's get on to it. Now, my number 30 favorite game of all time is an oldie but a goodie, and one that I'll play anytime, anywhere, and that is Nightmare Chess. It is a game of chess with a hand of cards that let you do all sorts of interesting things, like make some of the chess pieces explode or make them shapeshift into doing other things or all sorts of amazing stuff. This is a self-contained game that really is just the cards. You combine this with the chessboard and it makes an amazingly cool game. This was way ahead of its time when it came out in like the 90s. And I still like this game. I like this game a lot. And I recently picked up the most recent edition of it here. And I currently have two different editions of this in our collection. I'm debating on whether I'm holding on to the other one for nostalgic reasons or not. But yes, Nightmare Chess. I love Nightmare Chess. I'll play that game a lot.
My number 30 is Kaptain Dice.
No, really? This one surprised me that...
It's dice rolling.
It's true. And it's another Press Your Luck game.
Yes.
How many Press Your Luck games is this on your list?
I don't know.
50?
Like all the ones we own.
Yeah, wow, I didn't realize you like Press Your Luck elements that much.
I didn't either.
Until you made the list. Like,
yes.
if I would have guessed before, like, what was one of your favorite mechanics, I'd have gone with, like, worker placement. But holy crud, are there a lot of Press Your Luck games on this list. So, this is also a roll and move. It's a press your... No, not a roll and move. Roll and write. That's what they call it. It's a Press Your Luck roll and write game.
Yeah, because you have to make the combinations. It's what, 6 days? 6 days. And, you know...
I was trying to count them. You keep moving them around.
There.
Oh, but they're right here, though. The actual dice are right there. There's 6 of them.
6 days. There you get a pad of paper. And, you know, depending on what combination of things you roll, you can either build a road or you can...
build a settlement.
Yeah, build a settlement.
Get a knight.
Yeah, all like the normal Catan things, just without the board and with dice.
I'm with you in that I prefer that version from regular Catan, but neither one of them made my list. But yeah, no, that's a good game. So, my number 29 is a tile-laying game that very much feels like it has its ancestry rooted in the game of dominoes, which was on your list earlier. But with a bit of a new take and a new twist, and that is lanterns. And now the thing is, in lanterns, you have different color lanterns, which are also different shapes, which helps with people who are colorblind. And they're on different sides of a 4-sided tile, and you have to match them up. If you can match them up to the same color on other tiles that are already on the table, you get to earn cards, which you can trade in to buy point tiles. It's fairly simple, and this is a quick and easy game to learn and play. But this is an amazingly fun game, and our gaming group likes this game a lot. When we have 4 people, this is a go-to game for us. So, that is Lanterns, the Harvest Festival, which is my number 29 favorite game of all time.
My number 29 is 7th Hero. It is a card game where you are trying to put together a party of heroes to go adventuring. You don't actually go adventuring.
No, just build the party.
Once you get the party of heroes, that's the game ends. It's like the pre-adventure.
Yes.
It is the it's the it's the tailgating of dungeon delving.
There's been a series of games lately where that's the thing. There's that other one we haven't tried it yet, but that one Role Player where it's about building a role-playing game character.
And you don't actually
role play. No, it's roll like ROLL.
Oh, okay.
But this has been like it's been like a newer trend where people have done these games that are based on parts of gaming that haven't usually had games fully based on them before, which is weird, but it's fun. I'm not disagreeing. It's a fun game.
It's fun, and you're only trying to get 6 people because you are the 7th hero.
Yes. And the mechanics are weird too because you put a card face down. There's a bit of bluffing in this. This is, even though you don't normally like bluffing, this is again one of those weird like bluffing games that you actually do like, where you put
bluffing-ish.
You put a card
Not
face
quite.
down and you're passing it around the table, and people have to decide if they want to take it or not. Because if it winds up being the same number of a hero they've already got in the party, they are both discarded.
You have to choose to take it before looking at it.
But each of the cards you've already got in your party have special abilities that can help you.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, there's even one that allows you to look at the card before deciding to take it. This is a really fun game. I agree with you. That's fun. That was one that didn't quite make my list, but almost. So, my number 28 is another game that was published in the United States, at least, by Mayfair. And very, very sad that they have gone, but hopefully this game will carry on being published by Asmodee now that they have the rights to publish it in the States, Asmodee North America. And this game is Baron Park, which is another fantastic tile-laying game. This one with Tetris-like tiles, where you're using the Tetris-shaped tiles to build like a bear zoo. Mm-hmm. And this game is super cool, very easy to learn and teach. And I love the Tetris-like tiles, and I love tile-laying games. And this is one where you have, it's only a minimal of interaction with each other, just basically buying out tiles the other person might want is really your only interaction. It's mostly you're just building your bear park while they're trying to build their park faster because you want to be the one who completes it first and gets the most points is really what it comes down to. But yeah, I love Baron Park. Great game.
My number 28 is Roswell 51. What are you thinking about? What?
Didn't make my list. You like this one a lot more than I do.
I like this game a lot.
You really do.
And like no one else seems to like it. Yeah, this is.
I like it. I just don't like it nearly as much as you do.
I just think it's super fun to
like,
try and defeat the giant ants, and
yes,
you have like
they're fun.
The useless party members, you know, like the cheerleader.
Yeah.
And,
well, this one it makes a lot of jokes about the like 50s sci-fi horror movies, which is kind of really cool, and I do like that. I like the game. I just don't like it anywhere near as much as you do. Like you really like, and we have both games in this system. There's two. The other one is
Pittsburgh 68.
Right.
I'm not a big fan of that one.
But you really like this one.
Yes, this is I like this game a lot.
We actually play tested this before it was released,
yes.
And you were and that's why you bought Pittsburgh 68 because this one wasn't out yet.
Yes.
And then you bought this one later. And no, I don't dislike it. It's just that there was never a chance this was even going to be on my list, and yet I had a feeling it was going to be on yours because I do know how much you like this one.
I know. It's
a one versus many.
And it's also, this game is really long.
It is a bit long.
There's like,
it's kind of longer than it should be for what it is, and then it ends out of nowhere. It's just like, oh, it's over.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Well, I know you love it.
I would play it forever.
You love this game. We know you love this game. I like that game. I don't dislike it. So I'm just, like I said, I'm just not as big on it as you are. But my number 27 is a game that I have sung the praises of since its very initial release. It is 2 games in one. It is Grimslingers. You have a dueling game where cards are placed and there's a rock, scissors, paper, lizard, Spock sort of mechanic with different elements of the spells because you're doing like a spell slinging, gunslinging duel, and the different spells can beat each other out because water beats fire kind of thing. And but in addition to that, if you have a total tie, if you play the same element, there's like a blackjack mini game to break the tie. Then in addition to that, in addition to the duels, there's a storybook game in this, which also is quite fun, and we have played as well. And you know what? This is one of those games where it looks like a tiny little game, and then you open it up and you're like, wow, there's a lot in here. And I really appreciate that they put so much in the box. This was by Stephen S. Gibson, who did both the artwork and the design. And he strikes me as a very generous guy. He put a lot in this little box. And yeah, and boy, is he a talented artist. Look at that. And dare I say, a talented game designer as well.
My number 27 is asking for troubles.
Troubles. I think we've decided troubles.
You already mentioned it. It's a really great intro level worker placement game.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Because everything is out there and easy to what's the word I'm looking for?
Easy to see?
Yeah,
easy to recognize?
Easy to see. Everything is clearly marked. The cards are, they're understandable.
This is a fairly straightforward worker placement game, but with two additions beyond a normal worker placement game. One is that blocking a spot doesn't mean it's thoroughly blocked. Someone can bump you off, which instead of being a strategic, I'm going to block other people from using this spot, it's strategic, everyone wants to use this spot, so I'm going to go there, and they're basically going to give me a free action by bumping me off so I can get to another action before I have to recall my workers. And the other thing is the customizable personal board, which changes what you get for each of the spots on the main board, making so that you get extra stuff that other people don't get. And those two things stand out to me. I think they're really good, and I agree with you. It's a great game. Obviously, I already had it on my list. So, my next one, we're down to my number 26, which was mentioned not that long ago at all, because it is Mystery Motive for Murder. Now, Mystery Motive for Murder.
You just become a cockney when you say it.
I can't help it. I don't know. I can't just say the first part of the title without saying the rest of it, which is why I didn't say it, because I would have had to say the rest of it. And then I cannot say it without saying any of the funny words. I love that this entire game is based on the little animation from the old Masterpiece Mystery Show. Just that alone was amazing to me. And then we played it, and I was like, oh my god, this game is unbelievably fun. It's a tight-ruled, tile-laying game. But then also that very thematic reading of the motives after you play a tile is amazingly fun. I mean, I can't say enough about how much I enjoyed this game. But I don't want to drone on because we have other games to get to. So that is Mystery Motive for Murder.
My number 26 is Behind the Throne, which you have mentioned already before. It's a set collecting card game with a push your luck card flipping element.
Indeed it is. And all of those work really well together in that game.
Yes. And there are, like we said before, if you have the most of a certain set, you can use their special ability. Yes,
the special powers, but you have to have the most, which is a very interesting thing. Now, then my next few are ones that have not been mentioned before. I've got 3 in a row that have not been mentioned before.
Oh,
so
boy.
The first, because we had a bunch of crossover over the last maybe list and a half of this top 100. But the next one I know will not be a crossover with you at all because of your dislike of bluffing games, though it was your purchase.
Yes.
Because of your love of because of your love of Robin Hood themed games.
Sucked me in.
Yes. Well, this is Sheriff of Nottingham, and this is, I think, my favorite bluffing game of all time. I absolutely adore this game. So Sheriff of Nottingham is my number 25 favorite game of all time. You are putting, I think it's 1 to 5 cards in a pouch. You have to say they're all the same kind of good. There are 4 kinds of legal goods you can declare. So you say, I have 3 cheese, or 2 chickens, or 4 bread, or 1 apple. Whatever it might be. And then whoever's playing the sheriff, and it goes around, everybody gets a chance to be the sheriff twice. Whoever's playing the sheriff decides if they believe you or not. You're allowed to try to bribe them to get through. But if they open your pouch, it's on. And once they've opened your pouch, they're going to take a look at your cards, and if you were lying, you got to pay them a penalty for every card that you didn't declare, and those are confiscated. But if you were telling the truth, they pay you a penalty for every card in your pouch. This is an amazingly fun game. I really enjoy Sheriff of Nottingham. It really encourages a lot of social interaction, which is why you're not a big fan of it. Lynn doesn't like all the social interaction. But I like social interaction games, if you couldn't tell by the way I was talking about a few other previous games that encourage social interaction. I like games like that. And this is one of my favorites of those. I absolutely adore it. That's why it's my number 25. Sheriff of Nottingham.
My number 25 is Murano, which has already been mentioned as well. Giant rondelle. It's always fun.
Yes. You love games with rondelles.
I do. Yeah, and it's, I mean, I didn't think it seemed boring since I bought it, but someone else thought that it was boring and tried like 3 times to read the rule book and fell asleep every time.
I wonder who that was.
So then I had to read the rule book, and the rule book was quite lovely.
But by the way,
I found it very clear and concise.
By the way,
possibly even thrilling.
This right here is the world's smallest violin playing just for you because you had to read one rule book.
Anyway, it's a fun game.
I love this game.
About, building the islands of Venice.
Yeah, you build up the city, basically, in Venice. You know what? I mean, this game was already on my list. I obviously love it. It's just, I thought the theme looked incredibly dry and boring. But when we actually played the game is amazing. And mechanically, it's fantastic. So, I was wrong. What can I say? My next game is another one that I know is not going to be a crossover with Lynn because she only likes 50% of it. And that is Seven Ronin, which I have upside down. Now, the thing about Seven Ronin is it's a thoroughly asymmetrical game. And when I say Lynn only likes 50% of it, it's because she only likes to be the Ronin. The other side is the ninja, which sounds like it should be something Lynn would like. Because she likes being dastardly and vicious, but she doesn't like the way the ninjas play. So she'll only play as the Ronin. That being said, I like both the Ronin and the ninja. I'll play this with Alex and play both, though if I play it with you, I only get to be the ninja. This is a really fun programming game, asymmetrical. You plan out your moves ahead of time. The Ronin have special abilities they can do. You have to try to outthink your opponent because some of them only get to their abilities if they're opposed in an area fighting against ninja, and some only get to do their abilities if they're unopposed. And then the ninja get to do special abilities if they actually take control of an area of the village that they're trying to attack. This is a fantastic game. I like this one a lot. And this is another one where it's a much bigger game than it looks like it should be based on the tiny little box.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you'll agree with me on that, right? Yeah, there's a lot more to this.
There's 3 boards in there.
There's 3 boards in this tiny box. But no, Seven Ronin is a fantastic game. And also, I mean, thematically, it really feels like it's based on the classic movie Seven Samurai, which, if you haven't seen The Seven Samurai, definitely rent The Seven Samurai. That's an amazing movie. But, this definitely feels like it was based off of that. Great game.
So my number 24 is Murder of Crows, which has already been mentioned.
Now, you like this a lot better than me, though. I mentioned it a long time ago.
You did. I don't know. I like it, obviously.
You want to talk about it a little bit?
You're trying to spell out the word murder.
Yeah.
Each card, it's like tarot-sized cards, have a letter on them, an M, an R, a U, a D, or an E, and you have to spell the word out. Well, yeah, but there's more R cards than the other ones just because there's 2 R's. And then once you spell out the word murder, you read each card and it'll tell the story of a murder. So it'll say like Henrietta sliced Dominic's throat with...
They're more lighthearted than that.
It's
a dark humor, but it's definitely funnier than just...
With a baby fingernail?
Okay, that sounds more like it. But also, I love the different powers that each of the different letters have, because the different letters do different special abilities.
Yes.
And then, of course, there's the Wild Crow cards, which are very useful, too. This is a very fun game. I'm with you on this one, obviously. It was on my list, though. Definitely way higher on yours than it was on mine. Now, my next one is another one that I know will not be a crossover with you, because you are only mediocre on it. And that is Mouse Guard, Swords and Strongholds. Now, I bought this game 100% because we were walking through the exhibit hall at Gen Con one year, and I walked by the booth of, I'm trying to remember what the name is.
Burning Wheel or something?
It's, I think it's Archaea.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we walked by their booth, and this was sitting there. And I said, is this the board game based on the game they play in Mouse Guard? And they said, yes. And I said, I'll take it. And that's all it took, because I love Mouse Guard. I love the Mouse Guard graphic novels. I'm addicted to them. But then in addition to that, this is a good game. Like this, there's just a handful of pieces in here. 4 pawns per each side, plus cards. The deck of cards is made up of only 3 types of cards. And yet from that, there's amazing amounts of complexity in here. And there's all sorts of different strategies you can employ. And the games really differ quite a bit from game to game. Now, you're not big on this, but Alex loves this. I love this. This is a really great game. Unfortunately, it's becoming hard to find because it's out of print right now. Hopefully, they'll print it again, though, because I do recommend this to people. I've
realized that I don't like games where the pieces go on the intersections. Like, I don't know if it's just a spatial thing, but I don't get games like Othello or anything, or Go, where you have to place
Othello's not on the intersections. Go is, though.
Like ones that... Well, I don't like Othello either, so...
But that's for a different reason entirely, because they're not on the intersections.
Well, I don't know. I only played it like a couple times years ago, so I don't remember. I just remember I don't like it, so I just assumed it was on intersection.
That's a weird assumption to make. What is your next one?
My number 23 is Zerts, which is, I think, like... Almost all of mine have been mentioned before.
You've got a lot of crossovers still at the moment? Yeah.
So you make the board with the little rings, and then you put the marbles on the rings, and...
It's a great abstract strategy game.
You have to place a marble, take away a ring, or you have to jump if there are jumps.
So the board shrinks over time, and you can trick your opponent into forcing them. Trap them and force them to make jumps that they might not want to make, which will then let you make jumps that you do want to make. This is a brilliant game where you really plan 3 moves ahead, which is, I mean, it's a game that helps train you to plan moves ahead, which is so great. Yeah, love Zerts. Now, my next one is another crossover. This is one you mentioned earlier, but obviously I like it quite a bit more, and I love games where the pieces and components flip over and change what they are every time you use them, because this is the 4th game like that I have had on my list. I had Duke, I had Dreamwell, I had, what was the other one?
I don't know.
I forgot now. But I have Phase. And Phase is a fantastic heads-up card game. You can play it with more than 2 players. I think it says up to 5. But the thing is this. I've only played this game at 2 players because I really like it at 2 players. And when playing it at 2 players, I feel like I don't think I would like it at more than 2. Like 2 seems to be, in my opinion, where to play this game at. And I love that every time you attack with a unit or use a resource or whatever you do with a card, it flips over to the other side, and there becomes this thing of trying to remember, oh, what's on the other side of that card? Because if it's your opponent's card, you're not allowed to check. I love Phase. It's so dynamic and so interesting. And it comes with, what is it, 6 pre-constructed decks in here?
I don't know.
Which, this was, I think it's 6, which is amazing. Really, really useful. I think it's 3 different decks, but 2 sets of each. Great game. I love Phase, and that's why Phase made it all the way up to being my number 22 favorite game of all time. This game still hits the table for me a lot, and I absolutely adore it. I mean, what else can I say about Phase?
So my number 22...
It's a big one.
...is Twilight Imperium.
Not a crossover yet.
This is a giant game.
It is a giant game. It's one of the biggest.
Yes.
It's
a big 4X game.
This is the big 4X game in my opinion.
Okay. I guess it is.
It's this high in your list, and you're gonna like.
I don't think there's any other 4X games.
I was gonna say, come on, this is the 4X game. This is the game that all the 4X games are compared to. Whenever someone says, "Oh, there's this new 4X game," people go, "But how does it compare to Twilight Imperium?" Because this is the 4X game.
And this is the 4th edition.
Oh yeah.
Which they made the Necrovirus work a little bit better, and they changed some things.
Who's your favorite faction?
Yeah, Necrovirus is my favorite faction. So they made them a little bit more useful. not, I don't want to say useful. They were fine in 3rd edition.
They made some of their abilities more useful in that there weren't as many instances where they just don't work.
Yeah.
Because there were some times in 3rd edition where the necrobites were you just sitting there twiddling your thumbs because of their lack of political
a couple of the cards that I don't remember what they're called. The cards that
technology cards.
No, the rainbow of cards.
Oh, the strategic cards. The strategic
cards. Yeah,
there's
like a couple strategic cards where in 3rd edition they were just, you couldn't use them.
But now you had a secondary effect.
Yeah, they made a secondary effect where if you can't research technology, you get command counters instead.
Which is actually really good.
Yeah. I mean, I was grabbing the technology card any chance I got just to get 3 command counters. I mean, it's free command counters, you know?
Oh, yeah. I agree. And you know, Twilight Imperium is a game where you have to know that you want to sit down for most of the day with your friends and play a game that involves you building the entire civilization and trying to conquer the galaxy either through military might, economics, or politics, and know that you're going to be sitting there for like 6+ hours. Mm-hmm. But if you're willing to do that, that game is phenomenal. I mean, it's so amazing. Yeah. Definitely. I think what I'm trying to say is I agree. So my next one, number 21 for me, my 21st favorite game of all time, the last one on this section of my list, I'm just trying to get it off this side of the table here, is Quantum. And Quantum, now this plays a lot lighter and faster, but actually captures some of the feeling of Twilight Imperium for me. Because you do go out and colonize planets. It's not as in-depth with the thematic nature of it, mind you. But this is about as close to a 1 hour 4X game I think you can find. Mm-hmm. It's not really a 4X game, but it does capture some of that feeling. But it feels kind of like a 4X game crossed with an abstract strategy game, where the dice are the ship, and the number of the dice is very important for how powerful and how fast the ship is. Because the lower the number, the more powerful it is, but the slower it is, and vice versa. So, yeah, I love this game. It looks beautiful on the tabletop. The artwork is great. The dice as the ships are really great. I absolutely adore this game. And this is a game, we brought this to a couple of game nights over at the game store, mm-hmm. and it's gone over like gangbusters. Everybody's loved this game. So, I mean, people went like right after we played it and bought it. Yeah. So, I mean, that's how good this game is. I mean, Duke, like, we played it, and before he left that evening, I think he ordered it on the internet because the game store didn't have it in stock. So he just ordered a copy because of how awesome that game is.
So my number 21 is Dastardly Dirigibles, which... Again, this is like my
you had a lot of crossover.
My list of things that you have already mentioned.
No, I didn't mention Twilight Imperium yet, or Roswell 51, or Seventh Hero.
No, it was only
No, it wasn't all of it, but it was a good amount of it. It was a good amount of it. Yeah.
So this is really fun with the little blueprint map and building your Zeppelin or
the set collect. There's a lot of similarities actually between this and Murder of Crows now that I think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're building the word or you're building the specific mm-hmm. parts for the Zeppelin, but it's actually fairly similar. I didn't think of that. There's a lot of similarities between the two games. But that is a great set collecting game. Mm-hmm. Dastardly Dirigibles is a lot of fun, obviously. You apparently like it even more than I do. It's a little higher on your list.
Yeah.
So now that was our 30 through 21 favorite games of all time, which means starting in the next list, we're in the top 20. There's only 2 parts of this top 100 list left. And I got to tell you, the more we go through this, the more I am dying to see what's in your top 10. Like I can't. Can we just skip the 20 through 11 so we can just go right on to the top? No. But I want to know. I want to know what's in your top 10. So I'm pretty sure I know what your number 1 is.
I'm pretty sure you know what it is too.
But I don't know what your number 2 is. And that's what's killing me. I don't know what the number 2 is. So I hope you guys have been enjoying this top 100 games of all time list. Feel free to comment down below on any of our choices from this section of the list. Let us know what you think about these games. And if you if you've been enjoying this top 100 games of all time list from Lynn and I, be sure to give it a like. Share this video on any forms of social media that you may have. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Board Game Kaptain. That's Kaptain spelled with a K on YouTube. And until next time, game on.